Welcome back to Vikings Postgame Tonight. Pete Bercich with us. And Pete, this is the play that everybody's talking about because it's the freshest in their minds. And This is what a lot of the anger on social media is out. This is the 4th and 8 play, but there are so many other things that contributed to the loss. This is not the play that cost the Vikings the game.
Right. I mean, this is the one that's fresh in your memory, and it's the check down when you need, you need to get to this red line here, and we're throwing the ball up here. But
right. So this is it. They got to get here. This was 4th and 8, and T.J. Hawkinson was hanging out here.
Yeah, I think he's gonna chip on his way out, but it's if need be. But it's man-to-man coverage, and really the guy that ruins all this right here is Dexter Lawrence, because what's going to happen? He'll get up and then he'll start pressuring from this side, and unfortunately, it's right about in here when KJ Osborne is coming open. So if Cousins had a pocket and was able to sit, he might have been able to see this and work to the middle of the field. But you hear him in his post-game press conference, he was mentioning he just wanted to get the football off,
right,
because he didn't want to get sacked. Or just throw a 50-50 ball up to somebody else. I don't know. We'll see. But for the most part, this is just a breakdown, right? You got this right here. You've got Ezra Cleveland turned around. This is a straight shot, and Cousins can see it, but I think he steps up just a little bit, and this is the part that keeps you up at night, because you do see, right?
Because KJ's going to take that Osborne cut inside,
yeah,
and he's got inside leverage.
And they have a guy here lurking in the middle of the field too. So, it's just one of those things where you got to protect, right? You got to give Cousins time, and when they gave him time, he definitely was able to pick this defense apart a little bit. But we'll see here. You got a little jam up right here. I don't know where this. Not quite sure.
That's Hawkinson right here.
Yeah, that's Hawkinson right there. He's about 3 or 4 yards down the field.
I had a question for you, and I don't know if you have the answer, but here you have Dalvin Cook coming out as a flare. Is this even a viable play if you got to get way down here? Would it be better served to have somebody else in here, C.J. Ham or somebody to block?
If you throw it here and he still doesn't get there, then everybody's going to be complaining about that as well. What he's doing is he's helping to protect. He's chipping on his way out.
Okay.
And so once he works his way out, you got to turn around and look. And that something could happen if the play somehow gets extended somehow. But it did pull out that middle defender. You saw KJ Osborne coming, in the middle of the field,
here,
but
we'll give it to you
there
again.
just wasn't enough of a pocket, because you'll see KJ right about here work toward the middle of the field, and so that would have been the right option there, because once Dalvin Cook made his way out of the backfield, he pulled out that underneath coverage. He pulls this guy out of the middle of the field.
Okay,
that way.
Now you go.
He goes this way, so you might have a little bit of an opening here, but there's so much pressure coming from this side that he has to step up, and there's really I don't know how much else he could really do with this.
Right, because he couldn't throw to that left side because that's where all the pressure was coming from. All right, another big concern for the Vikings today was Daniel Jones. This guy set an NFL record today, over 300 yards passing, 70 yards rushing, and a couple of touchdowns. No quarterback has ever been able to do that in a playoff game.
Until today.
Why? Yes, until today. Why was this guy so elusive?
Well, he was elusive. I think he's a better athlete, I think, than people give him credit for. But I think our D-line did a better job in the second half of just adjusting and not getting so much on the edge with certain things with their pass rush. And then we had some issues with contain. It happened a couple times. And you can't just give a guy like Jones free reign. I mean, there was one with Dalvin Tomlinson where we dropped out the linebacker because we had a second through the zone, and you're trying to get a 3 technique out here, and there's just too much room. In this case, in this play right here, he's getting to the top of his drop. There's just a lot of room, but now he's starting to scramble and make things happen. And for defensively, there's not. As a cornerback, there's only so much you can do. Now you have to realize once he gets past this line, he can't throw it. But again, we have this pocket right here, and then this guy up the field, and it just leaves too big of it's just a huge lane right there for him to step up and run through. And to Jones's credit, he's going to scramble, watching and looking down the field, right? And we're in zone. These guys are settling in, and he's fast enough that when he does turn on the jets, that he's going to be able to move the chains.
Okay, they talk about a spy. Was there anything the Vikings could have done with Daniel Jones and someone to spy on? Do they have a linebacker that's capable of doing that.
They could, but the question with the spy is that he's a pocket passer, right? He doesn't drift on almost every single play, because really when you have a spy, you might rush 3 and then have one guy just kind of wait at 1,000, 1,002, and then watch where the quarterback goes and then try to cut that field in half and go get him, right? But Jones sits in the pocket, so if you can't just rush 3 against him if he's going to be throwing the ball out of the pocket, then you got one guy just standing here doing nothing, right? So if he scrambled more, or if he scrambled one way or the other to extend the plays more often, then having a guy that kind of hangs out and waits for him to declare himself and then you put pressure on him might help. But in this case, like I said, because he sits in the pocket so much, I really don't know if a spy would have helped or really changed anything.
All right, and then the last thing we want to look at, the Vikings in the red zone. They have been so good this year. This is the touchdown pass that went to Irv Smith Jr.
And this is great because you've got, first of all, they hurried up to the line of scrimmage, so you've got all these giants standing here, right, trying to figure out. But the other part of it is you have 1, 2, 3, 4 eligible receivers strong, and look who's in the backfield.
Yes,
Justin Jefferson. And when you watch this,
that's what happens here.
Right, when you watch this play develop, Justin goes out to the flat, and it's going to pull. 3 guys are going to go to Justin in the flat, and it's going to allow Irv Smith to curl up and be open in the back of the end zone. But watch, as soon as JJ goes out into the flat, pause it somewhere in there, you've got one.
Sorry, that's my fault.
You had 1, 2, 3. You had 3 New York Giant defenders at the goal line, all trying to rally up to make sure that Justin Jefferson doesn't catch the football. Right, so let go just a little bit longer.
Okay.
And then right there, if you pause it, so now you have one guy here, both of these guys here are working out, and you've got another guy on Jefferson. You have 4 New York Giants right here, and there is absolutely nobody in the back of this end zone. So again, it's a combination of all those things. It's having the right play design, and then getting the line of scrimmage and executing it quickly, because look at they were actually offsides on this play, but they're a mess trying to get lined up and trying to get everything figured out. Then you give them the 4-out strong look, and they don't know what to do. They didn't pass it off right. Everybody's chasing JJ, and then you get Irv Smith Jr. wide open in the back of the end zone. Or open in the back of the end zone. So nice design, nice execution. So offensively, you're right. The red zone has been a strong suit of this team.
Yeah. All right. A lot of people are asking why Justin Jefferson, only 3 targets in that second half. His last target, I believe, was somewhere around 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Did you see something that the Giants did to take him away?
Not really. I mean, he was catching a lot of footballs early because they were playing a lot of off coverage, and so we had a nice little short passing game going. But they weren't going to give up anything deep down the field. And as the game went on, and we were pressing and trying to get down the field, they did a pretty good job of hemming him up. I'd have to take a look at it again and watch him in particular, but I don't know if
nothing jumped out at you.
Not really. I mean, Dory Jackson was played for them. He wasn't there in the first game. Dory did a decent job, but he by no means was a Superman to shut down JJ one-on-one. So JJ attracted a lot of attention, which is why TJ Hockenson had so many receptions and did so well. And that's what you got to have. You got to have a viable option if they're going to commit that much in the way of resources to shutting down Justin.
Makes a lot of sense. All right.